Hello everyone and welcome to the Unmasking the Narcissist Network. I'm Dean, the host of the Unmasking the Narcissist Network and also the host of the Narkin Network. Today I'm going to be presenting for you guys episode 20 on the Unmasking the Narcissist Network. And episode 20 is actually going to concern an individual who is a television star. And I made a quick video about this the other day. Followed up by this video the next day. I'm just posting it here now because I didn't have time over the weekend to actually do that. But we're going to be talking in this episode 20 video here about Aaron Goodwin, who is, if you don't know who Aaron Goodwin is, he's one of the stars of the Ghost Adventures show. And he's been starring on the Ghost Adventures TV show for at least 15 years now. I think it started back in 2010 or 2011. I think they did the first show. And this is for those of you out who don't know who he is or haven't seen what's going on in the news or anything. Well, as it turns out, Aaron got married about 7 years ago to a woman named Victoria. And if you haven't seen this in the news at all lately, it's been all over the news actually. I'd be surprised if none of you have actually seen this. But his wife went on trial for plotting to murder him. And it's kind of a really weird, twisted story because, as I said, he married Victoria Goodwin about 7 years ago. And in the past year, what happened is that she was cheating on Aaron. I didn't actually know that she was cheating on him with more than one person. I thought that she was just cheating on him with the individual who she was plotting with to kill Aaron. But as it turns out, she was having illicit relationships with more than one male in the time that she was married to Aaron over these past 7 years, including also an individual who was in prison who is a serial killer. He actually killed his parents, I believe. And she became friends with this individual in prison and started writing him, and they started communicating, and they started a love situation from prison, even though he himself cannot leave prison, and I don't think he's actually ever going to get out of prison, according to the information that I know. So she was having like an in-prison romance with this guy, and while this was going on, Victoria was plotting with this man to actually kill her husband Aaron from prison. She actually took out a contract hit with this guy, who I guess was able to contact somebody else and possibly carry out a murder hit on Victoria's husband. Now, of course, as I just said, this man was in prison and not able to get out. I don't know whether or not he had any conjugal visits from Victoria in the time that they were involved or anything of that nature. I don't think so. But as we know, when people get wrapped up with, especially when narcissists get wrapped up with another narcissist, because definitely if this man is committed the murder of two individuals, he definitely has NPD as well here, not just Victoria. Then we're talking about a narcissist engaging with a narcissist here and plotting to kill somebody else. So the trial happened a couple of days ago, and actually the trial happened a day ago from the time that I'm making this particular video. And in the trial, the judge heard the whole thing. She heard Aaron talk about his situation with his wife and the factor that she had been cheating on him with multiple men over the years, and that she had drained a lot of his savings, and she was, of course, involved with this guy who was a murderer in prison as well, too. And they talked a little bit, or he talked a little bit about learning about the situation of his wife doing this, because Aaron, from what I believe, was made aware by the police that this was going on when his wife Victoria was having communication with the person who was in prison, who was plotting to kill her husband with her. This man had an illegal cell phone, and the prison staff at one point confiscated the illegal cell phone. They didn't go through it right away. It took them a little while. I think it took them a period of like like a couple of months or something, or a couple of weeks to go through the phone before they realized that he was having communication with Aaron's wife, and they were plotting to kill Aaron. And when they were made aware of this, I believe they started to observe him, excuse me, in prison. They started to observe him in prison, and of course they started to observe her remotely, I guess to see if she was having any continued communication with him or whatever. And at some particular point, when they had decided that it was time to come in and take care of the situation, they went and had a meeting with Aaron to inform him what was going on with his wife and what she was doing, and that she was plotting with this man in prison to actually murder Aaron. So during the trial, the judge heard everything that was going on. She heard Aaron, she heard the whole story, and the judge decided to give Victoria Goodwin a maximum of 90 months in prison, because I guess that's all they can give for an attempted murder plot in this particular instance. I don't know if she knows if she's going to get the minimum amount of the sentence or the maximum amount of the sentence yet, because I've looked up information on the internet about this and I cannot find anything in particular. So the maximum amount she can get is obviously 7.5 years for this, for plotting this against Aaron. And the reason I'm doing this video on the Narcan Network is that, as we can plainly see, and as some of you will know out there, I think if you guys are super intelligent on my network, these are all the red flags of a person who's a narcissist. Victoria started messing around with Aaron started messing around with other people behind Aaron's back very early on in their relationship. Aaron had no idea that this was going on, because Aaron, it seems like a very calm, I mean, I've seen interviews with Aaron on television before and stuff. He seems like a very calm and not a person who would think that his wife was doing this to him, basically. So maybe naive in a little bit, in a little way or whatever, but of course there are plenty of you out there who are highly intelligent, who have had run-ins with narcissists like this, who've done the same things, and it doesn't necessarily mean you're stupid or you're naive, because as we know, narcissists hide who they are, and this is why it makes it so difficult to pick them out and to find out what's actually going on with them. And judging by what I now know about Victoria Goodwin, I would say that she is definitely an upper mid narcissistic type individual. Very cunning, very intelligent, it seems to be anyway, to be able to get away with this stuff with Aaron for an extended period of time, and to be able to cheat on him with multiple men, to be able to engage with this serial killer in prison without Aaron knowing, and doing all this stuff. And of course, these are all the red flags of a narcissist, which is why I decided to do this episode on her on the channel, because clearly this is a shining example of a person who is really, I would say not an ultra level narcissist, because I would say she's not quite that intelligent, but she is definitely cunning and planning, and she's got all the key elements that a narcissist needs to get away with stuff for an extended period of time. But again, she did stupid stuff and she got caught, and this is what happens commonly with narcissists. I hear about this on my network all the time, about some narcissist messing with somebody and then they get caught in a really stupid, simple situation, like something like this, where they are communicating on the phone with somebody they shouldn't be, and boom, the person who's the narcissistic victim catches them in that lie and pulls them out, and suddenly realizes that they're dealing with a narcissist in their life. But Victoria is a shining example of a person who is a narcissist. Anyone who thinks they can cheat on somebody for an extended period of time and have that person be oblivious to this, it's like that's something not right with that person, obviously. I think all of you out there will agree with me. There's something not right with this person. And certainly anyone who would plan with somebody else to murder their spouse because they felt that they were just not getting along with this person anymore. At one point in the trial, they talked about a piece of commentary that Victoria had to say. This came out in the news actually a couple of weeks ago. and some of you may have heard this particular piece of commentary. Victoria actually had a dialogue with this guy in prison that it was like a messenger caption that they released, basically related to this, where she asked this guy in prison if she was a bad person for wanting to kill her husband instead of divorcing him. That is the dialogue of a hardcore narcissist. Like, when I saw that, I wasn't surprised by it at all, but I literally couldn't believe that dialogue came up related to her, and it just proves how much of a narcissistic person she actually is, that she thinks it's a better idea to kill her husband than to try to divorce him, and then trying to question whether or not she's a bad person for wanting to kill her husband. Right there is, to me, screams there's some psychopathy going on there. I don't know if they've run her through some psychiatrist here, but they definitely should in the time that they have her incarcerated, to dig a little deeper into what's going on in that mind there, because whatever's going on in that mind there really isn't normal, that's for sure. But this is basically what I wanted to talk to you guys about here in this episode. This is going to be probably part 1 of this episode. If some other stuff comes up here related to Victoria Goodwin's sentencing, or this particular story, I'll probably do a part 2 on this, and I may even continue it if things come up here and there, if we hear anything new. Keep you guys abreast of what's going on, especially if they do any looking into Victoria and it relates to anything psychological that's going on with her. I'll definitely talk to you guys about what transpires with that if we hear any information about that. But I just wanted to do this basic video because I found it so interesting that she was exhibiting some of the hardcore narcissistic red flags that we see in narcissists, and I thought it would be interesting just to talk to you guys about this story and about what's going on with Aaron Goodwin and with the sentencing of his wife Victoria. So I'm just going to say to you guys, please stay tuned. I got lots of stuff coming up on the Unmasking the Narcissist channel in the future. I have some stuff coming up on the regular Narkin Network. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll catch you really soon.